Hello, everyone. We are Sergio Cárdenas Aroca, Juan David Rojas Orozco, and Paula Andrea Silva Rojas. Today, we'll present our research project, Analysis of Teenagers' Attitudes Toward NNEST and Non-NNEST Influences of Native Speakers at Foreign Languages Academies from Florencia, Caquetá. To address the growing demand of English teachers, the Colombian government has brought in native English-speaking teachers, NNEST, through programs like the English Teaching Fellowship Program from 2017. By 2018, over 1,400 nests were recruited, not just from native English-speaking countries, but also from nations like Serbia and Ghana. Private institutions like the ANS, Academia Nacional de Sistemas, in Florencia, Caquetá, have employed nests since 2016 to enhance English programs. However, this trend reflects the ideology of native speakerism, the belief that nests are superior teachers due to their mother tongue. This perception influences students' attitudes and can perpetuate biases against non-native English-speaking teachers, non-nest, impacting teaching effectiveness, classroom dynamics, and learning outcomes.
Our research aims to answer the following question. How does the native speakerism ideology influence teenagers' attitudes towards native English-speaking teachers and non-native English-speaking teachers over their English learning processes at foreign language academies in Florencia, Caquetá? To answer this question, we proposed both general and specific objectives. The general objective is to document how native speakerism ideology influences teenagers' attitudes towards native English speaking teachers and non native English speaking teachers in their English learning processes at foreign language academies in Florencia, Caquetá. The specific objectives are first, to identify teenagers' attitudes towards native English speaking teachers and non native English speaking teachers. Then, to analyze how the ideology of native speakerism influences the teenagers' language learning processes with nest and non nests. And lastly, to categorize teenagers' language attitudes towards nest and non nest in their learning experiences.
With our research goals in mind, let's now take a look at the literature that shapes this project. This project is built around the theory of native speakerism, first defined by Holiday. This ideology positions nests as superior due to their linguistic and cultural background, while often undermining the contributions of non-nests. This bias continues to influence teaching practices and higher decisions globally. Over time, Holiday's idea has been challenged by critical scholars. For example, Horton and Burkhardt have pointed out the unfair hiring practices that non-nests face, while Dwell stresses that teaching skills should matter more than being a native speaker. Despite this critique, native speakerism is still widespread, influencing how we see teacher effectiveness and creating language hierarchies. This framework interconnects with the dichotomy of nests and non-nests, where nativeness is often seen as a symbol of power and privilege in ELT. Scholars like Tupas and Hillman challenge this ideology, advocating for more fairness and inclusivity in teaching practices. Finally, language attitudes are central to this research. As Garrett and Dragojevic highlight, students' perceptions of nests and non-nests are influenced by their beliefs, culture and context, and learning experiences. By exploring these attitudes, we can better understand how native speakerism affects English learning processes and identify strategies to foster a more inclusive educational environment.
Now that we have an understanding of the theory behind this project, let's move on to the methodology we used. This research methodology is based on a qualitative case study approach, aligned with the bilingualism axis of the master's degree program proposed by Araque and Rodriguez. This critical perspective let us explore how native speakerism influences teenagers' attitudes toward nest and non-nest in their English learning process, taking into account sociolinguistic and cultural contexts. We focused on 15 teenage students from Academia Nacional de Sistemas in Florencia, Caquetá. Using non-probability sampling methods as explained by Cohen, we used three key instruments to gather data: a verbal guise test to evaluate attitudes toward English accents, focus groups to explore collective biases, and personal interviews for in-depth insights. Ethical considerations were a priority throughout the process, ensuring participants' anonymity.
Analysis. With the methodology in place, we can now discuss how we plan to analyze the data. Let's go over the analysis phase of the project. It is about aligning it with our objectives and critically examining the data we collect. Using tools like the verbal guides test, focus groups, and interviews, we plan to categorize the information into main themes and smaller sub-themes. We'll be guided by frameworks from Creswell and Poth and Nasaji, which will help us spot patterns and better understand how native speakerism affects students' views of nests and no-nests.
However, due to the academic calendar, the instruments haven't been implemented yet, since the students are currently on holidays. We set to begin in January when they're back in class. This delay ensures authentic and relevant information to our contest. Despite this, we anticipate that the results will offer critical insights into educational practices in regions like Florencia. We'll be able to highlight the complex relationships between language attitudes, social-linguistic factors, and teaching strategies, and eventually contribute to creating more inclusive and fair approaches to ELT. Thank you.